So Bitcoin is up about 15% the past 2 weeks. And a lot of people, including me, are calling for a pullback. But there is one thing that no matter what, you should not do today. Actually, two. One, you should not buy. And two, you should not sell. It's very simple. And I know it sounds crazy, but sometimes sitting in your head makes sense. But the question is, where do you buy? Where do you sell? If you're up here in your position, should you start cutting profits? My answer is no, but the why is going to be covered in the video. And should you start buying into positions if you're not? Well, the answer is also no. Let's jump into the show, guys. My name is Fefe, 24/7 Crypto, bringing you the past 24-hour news every day of the week. If that sounds good, subscribe to the channel and check out the socials in the link in the description. Also like it and share it with your friends. Let's jump in. First and most importantly, my friend Kyle here explains to us that we have $4.39 billion inflow in the week on digital assets. That means ETFs, so Bitcoin, Ethereum, so on. That's actually quite substantial, 4.4 billion. And a lot of times when you see numbers like this, that usually marks the local top. So local top doesn't mean that it's the end of the bull run. It doesn't mean that we're gonna go into 2 months consolidation. It just means that there could be a little bit of a breather. Now, I read this tweet and I was basically blown away. If you look at this just in the past few hours, it's yesterday, Trump Media Company announces a $2 billion Bitcoin purchase. New ETH Treasury Company announces 1.5 billion in ETH. Sailor buys about $800 million worth of Bitcoin. MicroStrategy copycats, so all the treasury companies basically throwing 9 figures into tens of millions of dollars just buying Bitcoin and then hopefully not mismanaging it, but that's what's going to be in the next bear. But we see these treasury companies popping up everywhere and deploying massive capital just to purchase Bitcoin and then leverage that Bitcoin, borrow against that Bitcoin. It's a whole thing. Sol Treasury Company announced 200 million. I'm going to talk about Sol because I think it's very important. BitGo wants IPO, CryptoPulse report due tomorrow, and Pump Fund still on that shitcoin at the end here, which we're going to talk about as well. But altcoin is not only institutions and it's not only the billions and billions and billions, but it's also actual retail people like you and me searching for altcoins. So the people who completely dismissed crypto, got regged in 2021 or just got regged actually last year, or started to come back. So we do see, after a massive flat line, we do see an increase in Google Trends, and that means that things are about to get quite stupid. So we see crazy predictions even for the next four to 6 months from major people. Like Tom Lee says here that his projection for Bitcoin this year is 250,000 per coin. Now, I kind of agree, but if you think about the fact that Bitcoin is sitting at 120,000, 250 would mean 100% increase in Bitcoin, would mean about $2 trillion worth of capital flowing into Bitcoin. So that is kind of what you see with people's mindset. But, and this is the most important thing, that there are usually pullbacks. That's normal. That happens. And when there is a pullback, that doesn't mean that you should just sell everything and try to time the market, especially when it's a bull market and when it's a massively trending market, what we see now. The biggest mistake that you can make is to actually sell because you're afraid of a pullback, or just sell into a pullback when it happens, or just sell the very bottom. Now, there are people like 𝗙𝗡. Go and follow 𝗙𝗡. He's a very cool guy, a researcher here at Benta. And he's been saying he's calling the end of the party. Now, I don't know when the party, so to say, ends for a period of time. I know one thing. And the one thing is that there will be a major shakeout happening. And the major shakeout will happen, in my opinion, in the next week or two. And that is going to trap and fool a lot of people. Now, there are a lot of people, a lot of you possibly, who did not buy in already. Like, you don't have a position, or you just have a small amount in the market and you're itching and sitting and wanting to deploy, but you're afraid of the pullback. And there are people who are sitting on massive positions. Like, if you look at my positions, if you've been following me, if you've been in the Telegram, we've been layering in here. You're sitting on these kind of positions and you do not know if you should close it or you should, just keep it open, because if there is going to be a 15-20% drawdown, you do not want to risk losing all your profits. Now, let me jump back in here. Let's look at the market. So number one, and very important, we do have, I understand before anybody comes in here and saw saying that, yeah, the pullback already started and there are some tokens that are dumping. Pump is down 13% and you see IOTA down 8% and the CFX got down 12%. Yes, sure, but this is not what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about pullback, that's, if you look here, a pullback, if you go into the daily on the total market cap and I show you 2021, a pullback looks like this, right? A pullback looks like this when you have a day where you have a 20% candle. Like, this is a pullback here. This is a pullback. A 20% daily candle when you have 20% price volatility. Now, this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. Not that one or two coins down. If you look at here, not one or two coins down 7 to 8 to 9%. I'm talking about the entire market having a 20, 30% volatile move within one day. That is a bullback that I do think is worth buying. Now, I put out a very short video, a 7-minute video on the 𝗙𝗓𝗡𝗙 Club. Ren is going to be doing a show here today as well. There's a link in the description. Go and check that out. It explains exactly how the 2021 bull market pullbacks reflected and what you can expect on this now. So go and check that out. Link in the description. And Cuz is also going to pin it here on the top of the chat. It's already there. Fantastic. But that is what I think you should be looking at. Now, if you don't buy today and if you don't sell today, what do? The reason why I do not recommend you sell today is because if you, and this is the important part, if you have taken these positions, like I've been telling you, I've been sharing all this in the Telegram. It's a free Telegram, again, link in the description. But if you have taken these positions, you are doing quite okay. I mean, if you look at your, hopefully, I mean, let me know in the chat if you have taken the positions. You probably should be up massively. But if you look at this, I do not want to give up these positions. Now, if you are sitting in profits like this, by not selling, you're risking, you're gonna give back a lot of gains to the market. So these positions might actually go back down to even minus. So if you look at here, my TON position at 10x up 123%, that's only like a 13% move that I caught on TON. Then my PENDLE position is only 50%. So that's about a 5% move to the upside. Then Aptos, it's about on 3x leverage up to 70. So that's about a 25% move. I'm much more safer on Aptos. But you see the point. You can't get into a position where these positions that you've been building and are up in massive profits, you might give back some of the gains. So why do I still say that you should not sell today? The reason is because there is no one on the planet that can time, one, no one can time these pullbacks, and two, no one can actually predict when the pullback happens and where the pullback ends. All you know that they will happen, they will be very quick, and when they happen, you have to buy. Now, if you do not have more capital, if you're all in the market, and you have your trades open, yes, do I think it's a great idea to take 20-30% of your profits and then reallocate? Yes. Do I still have some cash on my trading account that I can just go back? Yes. Therefore, I'm not selling anything. Now, the second question is why I do not recommend, or why do I say you should not buy today? And the reason is because, unfortunately, again, you don't know when the pullback is coming. If you start deploying now, the only way I would recommend you start buying today is if you are aware that your stop loss is going to be below the daily chart. I also explained it very nicely in the short video here. I run through some of the tokens on the 𝗙𝗓𝗡𝗙 Club. But for example, here in the total market cap, 295 is the very bottom. So I want you to know that if you start buying here because you think there is another leg up, which is absolutely possible, this thing can just start rallying. I told you, no one knows. This is the bull market. Like, you don't know what the market is going to do. Maybe we're going to have a 20% candle to the upside. So if you start buying here, just be aware that your liquidation price and your stop loss at the same time should be below 2.96, but at least below 3.2. Because I know already what is going to happen is that people are going to come back to the show a week from now, 2 weeks from now, and they're going to say, oh my God, I get wrecked on this, on this wick down. Nobody knew this is the end of the bull market and whatnot, because they start layering in here and they start putting their stop losses 7, 10, 8% below their current price. And on 10x position, that's basically a complete liquidation. So many of this will happen. Do not be one of those people. So if you start layering in because you do not want to wait, or you just think this is the right time to do so, which I actually think it's always right to layer in if you're looking at a 3 months to 6 year perspective, always good to layer in. But I just don't want you to get into a situation where you use high leverage, where you start layering in, and then you simply lose your steam, because when the market comes back, it will get you and it will liquidate you and it will be horrible. So if you decide to buy, make sure that your liquidation price is down here. Just start layering in small bits as the market starts dropping. You can just layer in more. And as the market pumps, you can just take more profits. Now, it's gonna be much more different if we start consolidating like we did here, If we start consolidating like this, I do believe that you gotta pay attention, because if this happens and you have a 4-hour lower low like we have it here, I do think it's worth closing your positions. The only reason why I would not do it now is because there is no well-defined 4-hour or daily close on here. There's just no. This is the first level that I would be looking at. Down here. at 3.7. Below everything above that is actually extremely bullish, and that is a 5-6%, possibly 8 to 10% on your other tokens. So this is my way of thinking. Ultimately, just as a TLDR, I would not buy today unless I understand that my stop loss can be on the daily low, probably 15-20% lower than my current price. If I understand it, I have proper risk management, I think it's a great idea always to start layering into crypto. The second is I would not sell because there is no clear invalidation on the market, and I do think that by selling, you will close positions that you got in early and you've been waiting for a long time. And for trying to be a genius and trying to time the market, you will give back all the good gains that you have gathered and all the great entries that you had. And when the market drops, you can still leverage up once you have a confirmation of the reversal on the bottom, and you can still add to it. What's happening here? Fefe the best round. Thank you so much for being here. Woo, woo, woo. What's going on here? I'm surrounded by bots. Surround yourself with humans instead. Palm dead? No, I don't think so. We're gonna talk about it. After rain, there is sunshine. Yes. Like, I should have heard this an hour ago. Yeah, I'm sorry. I actually dropped the video on the 𝗙𝗘𝗙𝗙 Club about an hour ago. So like, if you are subscribed to the 𝗙𝗘𝗙𝗙 Club, you have probably seen this parts of this. Advice for long-term investors: hold. Close out the noise. Do not panic. Do not worry about it. Now, the inflows are actually, again, like I told you, if you're just tuning in, I bring you here the most important happenings from the past 24 hours. And we're also going to talk about some random news that happened and do shape how crypto is evolving. One of the things are inflows. Bitcoin inflows coming in at 130. An outflow coming in at 131. But inflows for the Ethereum ETF coming in at almost 300 million, which is, again, extremely substantial. Now, one of the major reasons I believe ETH is rallying is because the trajectory that the US is going. They're accepting DeFi, they accepted the Solana staking that will reflect on ETH staking. So like, the whole narrative is just brewing for ETH. ETH is hitting or closely coming up to the 4,000 mark. SEC Chair Paul Atkins said that ETH is not a security. I mean, we knew this. The only person in the world who didn't understand this was 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, but he's finally out. Now, my ETH position is thanking me, actually. So again, this is something that I'm in this ETH position since, what was the entry here? 2,879 was my ETH. No, sorry, 2,412 was my average entry. And this is the power of actually layering in. This is why I always tell you to subscribe to the channel, come to the shows, follow me on X, join the free Telegram. I shared all these trades there and layering in. So up 160% on a 3x leverage position is pretty cool. And I use Blowfin. So if you don't know Blowfin, it's a non-KYC available worldwide exchange. One of the best things about them is non-KYC, extremely great user interface. But also, since being non-KYC, if anybody is, so to say, worried about non-KYC and worried about and so to say unknown exchange for them, Blowfin custodies at Fireblocks, which is one of the largest custodians, a third-party custodian. So you can be sure that your funds are actually safe. So go and check them out. Link in the description. You also have massive bonuses for sign up. Now, Solana in the house. Solana surplus is $200. I need a $200 Solana. Solana flips BNB, which is huge. Liquidations amount to 48 million, which sounds a little bit nothing if you look at the the billions that we usually get, but 50 million in short positions liquidated on Solana only, it's actually quite substantial. And this could very well be the beginning of a massive Solana rally that we've again been anticipating for a long time. Not only Solana against USDT, but also Solana against Bitcoin. This is the Solana Bitcoin chart, massive pump, and also against Solana ETH. Now, I think the Solana ETH chart has something to steal reserve. I think that's going to change a lot. I do think that ETH is going to outperform Solana in the coming three to 4 months for a couple of reasons. But one of the main reasons why Solana, in my opinion, is having a massive run is because people realize the utility behind the ETFs that got approved. So now you can get a Solana ETF in the States with staking rewards. That means that the Solana ETF basically pays a dividends just like a stock, an ETF stock, which makes it very, one, understandable for traditional investors, but also more attractive than, for example, a Bitcoin or an Ethereum ETF. One, it's cheaper, so psychology of numbers. It's cheaper, so you can buy a Solana ETF because Solana is much cheaper and also more accessible, and also because it is new. So like Bitcoin, looking at Bitcoin, whatever, there's still innovation happening on on Sol, and people can start gambling their money into Sol and the Sol ETF with dividends. Now 1.5 billion USDC minted on Solana. Solana is going to also be big, so that's the second reason why I do believe that Solana is doing pretty good. It's not only because of stablecoin usage on Solana, but also because with the passing of the Genius SEC, this is something that a lot of companies and people will look at, and Solana is the fastest, cheapest, most convenient way to transfer funds as well. Now the ETF is actually pretty disappointing if you ask me. About 100 million since July 2nd, which is in about 20 days. They couldn't break 100 million. Again, comparison, ETH ETF inflows for 300 million for the day, and the Solana ETF is only roughly 93 million on the past 20 days. So it's not something that we should be cheering for, but it is happening. And the other reason that is also going to make Solana, in my opinion, very attractive is the treasury companies. Now everything is a treasury company. Everybody is launching a new treasury company, and there is a Solana treasury company launching as well. Macquarie FinTech, 200 million equity line from Solana Ventures to create a Solana-based digital asset treasury strategy. Now you got to watch out for these. There's a complete list from CoinGecko now that shows the public companies that hold Ethereum and also public companies that hold Bitcoin. So this is actually quite an interesting list. MicroStrategy shows at very first look at this asset. They can't even write this out. Entry value 42 billion, and in today's value is 72 billion. They hold about 2.9% of the total Bitcoin supply. Absolutely mind-blowing. Mara coming in a second. They're one of the largest miners out there. So you can see MetaPlanet coming into fifth as well. Basically a dead company before started to buy Bitcoin. So it is happening. On a random news, MicroStrategy purchased about $739 million worth of Bitcoin the past week. Oh, just something to take home with. Ethena, I am long Ethena as well. Ethena is going to have a buyback again. Also a treasury. They're going to have an 8% of their buyback. So I do believe Ethena is going to be a very good buy. Let me look at the Ethena chart. Yeah, so this was the trade. Yeah, thank you. This was the trade that we took. What is this? What is this trade? It's a 40% trade. When did I give this trade? 3 days ago. So, I mean, if you took this trade, I salute you. This is the trade I gave on show here. Or in 100 or something, I'm not exactly sure. But I do think that this could come back a little bit. Just have a little bit of actually, yeah, a little bit of comeback here at 45 cents, and just keep adding. Just keep adding. I'm a little bit baffled by it because I actually bought Athena down here at 25 cents, and then I closed it. I closed it because it wasn't performing, and I closed it like somewhere freaking here. Like it's, I'm a little bit baffled, but this trade made it up a little bit, so I'm happy about that. Get back here, Western Union. So like this is also new news. You will see much more of these players coming in. Western Union says that they are preparing on stablecoin off-ramp and on-ramp and transactions, and I was very excited. But if you see this news, just think about the fact that they actually basically transferred nothing. So like if you look at this 30-40 billion volume on, let me just look at this. So this is Tether, right? Stablecoin transactions, 3.9 trillion total transaction volume on the last 30 days. 3.9 trillion. That's actually crazy. $3.9 trillion transactional volume. Adjusted transaction volume is still 888 billion. And if you look at Western Union, they transfer about 40 billion in a year. So it's nothing substantial. Like again, if you look at 888 billion the past 30 days, even adjusted volume, and looking at 40 billion in Western Union, it's nothing. So it's, even though it will be all over the headlines, I do think that it's going to be a nothing burger, or it is, or you have to think rationally and think like, yeah, the Genius Act is big, but it's not as big. So if you think about one more thing I wanted to bring here is that today JP is speaking, and a lot of people are calling for the fact that he's going to have a resignation speech. But now the guy comes out, right? So the one who made the statement, Poulter, comes out and he says that this speech today is not going to be the speech, but it is coming. But I still, from the bottom of my heart, consider that there is no way Trump can remove JP. The only way this can end is if he resigns, but I think he has much bigger ego to just resign. He actually managed things quite well until Trump came in and he politicized the Fed. So I think it's not going to happen. Anybody telling you otherwise, I don't know. Maybe they know what they're talking about. Maybe I don't know what they're talking about. Jerome Powell going to talk today. Yes, in about 25 minutes, his speech is happening. Talk us about 𝗙𝗍 ecosystem, please. We can do a 𝗙𝗍 deep dive. TJ, please note. We can do a short one on the 100x Club. I should have heard this an hour ago. Yeah, yeah, okay. It's happening. Guys, truly appreciate you being here with me, spending this time. Make sure to check out the links in the description. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, smash the like buttons, follow me on socials, and just come back for another one tomorrow. It's 24/7 with me. Thank you so much for watching. I believe I'll see you in the next one. Take care.